Greetings and welcome back to the channel, everyone. We're going to be doing a unboxing video today, although due to some technical errors, I'm technically doing this unboxing for the second time. And the reason for that is because I just got done downloading what I thought was the finished unboxing video just to find out that for some reason my camera had corrupted the file and I lost it. So we're starting from this top again, and I apologize if my emotions were somewhat subdued this time around because I've already seen what's in this box, but nevertheless, we're going to do it anyway because I enjoy doing this stuff and I just didn't want to, have wasted some time to, do an unboxing video, so whatever. Anyway, collection update, unboxing, call it whatever the hell you want. I hope you guys enjoy this one. It's all black metal, so it's going to be pretty fucking awesome. Alright, so as you can see, the box has already been opened, and I think it sucks about doing this video the second time is that there was some surprise in this box, and I won't be as surprised, I guess, so take it for what it is. Anyway, here we go. We're going to be pulling stuff out of this box. Before we get to the actual unboxing, I gotta tell you a little bit more about how this trade came to be. So as you may or may not know, I recently re-released my second album, Oblivion to You All. A friend of mine, David, who runs a zine named The Dungeon in Deep Space, he wanted to do a trade for the album. And originally it was just going to be a pretty simple affair. I was going to send him a copy of the album, and then he was going to send me, just some random CD from his collection, And it sort of escalated from that very quickly to me sending him several CDs and cassettes from my collection for a number of really awesome albums in his collection. And he told me something like he had like 3,600 CDs, and this was stuff he hadn't listened to in years and just generally didn't care about it. So it's now mine, and I'm super stoked because it's awesome stuff. But as I said, emotions may not be as high as they were when I originally shot this video. But anyway, here we go. We're going to check it out in just a sec. All right. David does a zine called The Dungeon in Deep Space, and for me, this is by far the best dungeon synth and dark ambient zine going these days. And no disrespect to anyone else out there. It's just he does a really great job writing it, and he covers a diverse range. And I really hope this zine gets a lot of attention. It's an online thing, so no print, but he's actually kind of commented to me about how he wouldn't mind doing something like that one day. So if he does, total support to him. That would be awesome to see something like that happen one day. If you have never checked out The Dungeon in Deep Space, I highly recommend it. The guy does fantastic reviews, fantastic interviews. He's interviewed some of my Noctilucant, House of the Maker, and my Gavella Gland albums, and he enjoyed them a lot and just, really articulated his thoughts well. And I'm just, I'm humbled to tell that, he'd like my stuff that much, so it's fucking super cool. And, yeah, check it out if you haven't already checked it out. Great scene, Dungeon in Deep Space. Okay. So up first, from this box that I totally don't know the contents of, is I'll play this off like I'm discovering it for the first time. Oh, what is this? I've never seen that album cover before. Oh, it's Funeral Moon. Impure, I don't know how to pronounce that, but this appears to be some sort of compilation of Funeral Moon's demos, and it's from 97, 1996 recordings, so that's pretty cool, pretty diverse time frame of recordings there. But anyway, this is Funeral Moon, the first thing I pulled out of this box. The front cover, the back cover. Let's see what else we got in here. There's a CD, lyrics, the booklets. Photos and recording information, and here's the tray card. And there's the backlit tray card. Yeah, cool stuff. I've never heard of this project before, and I am definitely looking forward to checking it out. Because and this particular album I should mention here was also one of the surprises that I didn't know it was going to be in this box. So very cool. Next up is Necrophobic, and you'll actually be seeing more of this band in the coming contents of this trade. So I actually don't know what album this is, but I know it's one of their later ones. It was released by Regain Records, and I don't know, never heard it, but Necrophobic, just to tell you a little bit about them, they're one of those classic Swedish bands that sort of did that style that was very comparable to Section, other bands like Sacramentum and Dawn and Unanimated, all kind of emulated that style too. But Necrophobic, I think, at least on their earlier recordings, was a bit more death metal-y than black metal, and eventually they kind of became more, I guess, pure black metal, or more just, you know, that total dissection worship kind of style, which was so popular in Sweden in the early to mid 90s, somewhat late 90s too, I suppose. So I've never heard this album. I don't know what it's called, but I'm definitely looking forward to checking this out. Alright, now here's another surprise from the trade, and I don't actually know who this band is. Well, I shouldn't say I know who the band is. I have heard some of the recordings, but I have not heard this particular album. It's called Malicious Pride, and the band's a Norwegian black metal band, and they have, I guess a pretty high-speed black metal style, pretty much comparable to Immortal or Marduk, you know, things of that nature. But it's been a really long time since I heard this band, so I really can't say for sure. So don't take my word for it. Either way, I'm eager to check it out and see what they sound like. Right then, in the first real proper part of this trade, then there's several seasons here, so stick around for it. It's gonna be super cool. So the first album is Det Helsinki Folk, if I'm pronouncing it right. I know I'm not because I can't pronounce Norwegian. And Abyssic Hate, which was an Australian band. Both of these projects were, I think, somewhat short-lived. I think Abyssic Hate had a few recordings throughout the 90s and kind of came to its end early 2000s. And Det Helsinki Folk was a pretty much, I think, raw black metal band, and it was created by a guy that I don't think really went on to any other projects or anything. But what I guess kind of makes, I know that this recordings makes it kind of special, was that Abath from Immortal played on this recording as a session member. He was never an official member, and he plays drums on it, and I'm very curious to check it out, obviously. Alright, so here's a look at the back cover and the front. The band's two logos, and it is called United in Heathen Blood. Here's the CD. Tray card's just black. Got some information on the recording lineup and a cool landscape shot. Oh, that's right, yeah, Beth does play drums in here, so that's super cool. And Abyssic Hate was, I think, more or less a one-man project, but they have a session guitarist on this recording as well. The back cover, more nature mountain shots, so super cool stuff. I've never heard either of these bands, but I've always heard good things about them, so I'm very eager to check that out. Up next is another Abyssic Hate album, and this is an album that for years I'd always heard great things about it, but I just never went ahead and checked that out. So I'm glad to finally be checking it out, because I mean, hopefully it's the classic that everyone said it is. And if I'm not mistaken, this band was a band that's pretty famous or infamous for starting the DSBM scene, or at least being one of the early entries in that scene. And DSBM stands for Dark Suicidal Black Metal, and it usually has themes of like depression and melancholy and suffering and self-harm, that kind of stuff. So anyway, this is, I believe, his second album. It's called Suicidal Emotions, and it was originally released in 2000 by No Colors Records. And the first thing that really strikes you about them, of course, is the man on the cover with these lacerations all over his arms. I mean, it's fucking brutal stuff, man. I mean, sometimes I think back, when I was in my early 20s and like was really depressed, and like, I caught myself a few times and I was like, wow, it's pretty extreme. And you look at you see a picture like that, and it's just like, wow, that's the residual effects of totally fucked up mental health, I suppose, though, right? So there's the back cover, song titles, and what I know about this band is that they had a very Burzum-ish style, very long, repetitive riffs and that kind of stuff, very raw production, and super long songs too. So I'm really looking forward to checking out, and as I said, hopefully it's the classic that I've always heard it was. CD. Nothing in the tray card again. Oops, I didn't intentionally do that, but that worked out pretty well in my favor. Alright, and there's the front cover again, and the back of the booklets. We got lyrics, recording information, and other such things, yeah. And, more lyrics, yep. Very cool. Alright, so that's Abyssic Hate and their album Suicidal Emotions. Right, ever onwards with this collection update. So this is Baptism and their album The Beherial Midnight. So Baptism is a Finnish black metal band that's been going since, I want to say, something like 2005. And I think originally it was a one-man project, maybe with a session drummer, I don't really know. But I have 2 other albums from this project and I absolutely love them, and I've always heard really cool, good things about this album, so I am very much looking forward to checking this out, because I've just been in this mood lately for just a lot of real raw old school black metal, and I know Baptism delivers that perfectly on their albums. This album I've never heard, but I've always heard it was really great, so I can't wait to check it out. In fact, once I'm done with this unboxing video, this is probably going to be the first album I throw on, because just fantastic stuff, and like Norwegian black metal and Swedish black metal, it's all great stuff, but there is just something that's been so just amazing about Finnish black metal, and it always has this really special feeling that was very different from all the other scenes out there, but just in particular, a lot of like the bands that have popped up in the past like 10 to 15 years, just incredible stuff, and of course all the stuff from the 90s is phenomenal too. Just everyone loves the Norwegian scenes, of course, but if I really had to, I would probably say I like the Finnish black metal scene the best. So there's a look at the CD. The tray card, back cover of the album, a little track titles, and let's take a look at the booklet. That's the front cover, some lyrics and pictures of the band, and then album credits on the back, of course. Yeah, very cool stuff. If you've never heard Baptism, I strongly recommend it. The 2 albums I have are phenomenal. Yeah, if you never heard of Baptism, highly recommend the stuff. As the Darkness Enters and the Grim Arts of Melancholy are albums I've had since probably about 8 years ago, and just, it's the real deal. It's awesome stuff. Great black metal from Finland. Right then, so the next 2 CDs come from a Swedish black metal band, which I already mentioned, and that band is Necrophobic. And this is their, I believe, 2nd album called Dark Side, which was originally released in, like, I think 95 or 96. I want to see on this album, it was kind of when they really went, like, full dissection. It was very comparable to, dissection Storm of the Light's Bane, stuff like that. And I know in some circles, some people have actually said this album is the closest contender to that album, or some people even say it's better than that album. I don't know. It's been a really long time since I heard this album. I never owned it, but I used to have MP3s of it years ago, like a lot of shit that I had intended to buy, but just, never got around to it, because it was either out of print or just, I slept on it or whatever, and then went, But anyway, great album as far as I know, as far as I can remember. Again, it's been a really long time, and I'm really looking forward to checking this out. So there's the back cover of Dark Side. Let's look at the CD of Dark Side by Necrophobic. Here's the tray card. Here's the front cover, which is undoubtedly a Necrolord painting. I mean, that guy was doing so many awesome album covers back in the day. Just one of the coolest, bestest cover artists ever. And then let's see what we got here. We've got some lyrics on the inside. Yeah. And the back cover, we have this picture of these, I guess, like druids cutting the head off of Jesus Christ or something like that. I don't know. Fucking cool anyway. Very cool stuff. That's Dark Side by Necrophobic. One more CD from Necrophobic. This is their 3rd album, which was called The Third Antichrist. And I think this one was released in the late 90s, 97 or 98 originally. I have never heard this album, but again, this is one I heard that was pretty solid stuff. Necrophobic was pretty consistent throughout the 90s, and I think they kind of slowed down and switched some members then, as the 90s progressed and into the 2000s. I've never heard anything beyond Dark Side, but again, I've heard this album's pretty good, so I'm very curious to check it out. And again, this is Swedish black and black death metal, really great stuff. Yeah. All right, so there's the back cover, The Third Antichrist. There's the CD, and the tray card. Let's look at the front cover. Lyrics, artwork. Lyrics. Oops, I'll show that in a second. Forgot about that. More lyrics. And I guess what David told me also, there was a period of time when he lived in Japan, and this is, I believe, like the Japanese version of the CD, so I guess kind of rare. And it comes with this pull-out sheet which has lyrics and recording information in Japanese. the Japanese audience to enjoy and scream along, and yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool and pretty rare, so fucking, that's very cool David just tossed that in there. The rest of this trade comes from one of my all-time favorite bands, and I happen to be wearing my t-shirt of them too, so that makes it even more cooler, so yeah. So the band in question is the Austrian black metal band Abigor. First one I'm pulling out of here is Origo Requiem, which is basically a collection of the band's demos, but it's not older demos, it's just like the cream of the crop, I guess, so to speak. From 93-94, Abigor released 4 demos, and I think 1 rehearsal tape, and I guess this is, just the best of, from that era. I have never heard any of their demos before, but just looking at this, I see that a lot of the songs that ended up on their first album, Verwüstung, which is, for me, one of the all-time best black metal albums. It is one of the first black metal albums I ever got into, and it's an album I've been playing for 22 years now, and I absolutely love everything about it. So it should be very interesting to hear these early demo recordings, from that era, and just seeing what those songs sounded like in their very prime form. If you've never heard of Abigor, they are, as far as I'm concerned, one of the most original and just totally special bands that emerged in the early black metal scene in Europe. I mean, at the time, in 1993-94, a lot of bands were really trying to emulate that Norwegian and Swedish sound, but I always felt like Abigor did their own thing. They weren't about following trends. They just wanted to make brutal satanic black metal art, and for me, they're one of the best ever. There's no other band from Austria that comes close to touching. There's very few bands just in black metal in general that comes close to overshadowing their legacy and their awesome albums they released throughout the 90s. And to describe their style a little bit, they were originally a melodic but pretty fast-paced, black metal band that had keyboards, had some dark ambient and dungeon synth traits. And later on their second album, it became a little bit more technical, and they started having some female vocals, stuff like that. And I guess the rumor I heard around that time was like a lot of people thought they were going to be like, they were going to add more of that kind of stuff and be, like a more heavily synthesized black metal band. So they continued to evolve throughout the years. They had a recording, which I'm also going to show from this box a little while ago, in a little while, that, it's much more raw and stripped down. And then as, the 90s ended and the 2000s began, they went through a more experimental period where they were adding a lot of, like, industrial characteristics and just very unorthodox stuff that was totally new to black metal at the time. Later on in 2004, they broke up for a few years, then came back, and they've continued to release just stellar album after stellar album, just, true black metal, but with a very original approach, but still very much black metal, and that can't be said for a lot of bands that try to do more, experimental black metal. It's just never, that can't be said for all these bands that try to do more experimental black metal. It's they've managed to do more experimental and unorthodox stuff while still being like true black metal. And I mean, if you know what I'm saying, you'll understand. But if you're not a black metal, maybe that won't make sense. I don't know. But for me, just they're one of the best ever. So definitely check them out. Anyway, I'm done ranting a little bit there. So they're one of my favorites. So that's why it's pretty cool to talk about them. So anyway, here's the CD for Origo Requiem. Alright, so here's the CD for Origo Requiem, and nothing in the booklet here, or nothing in the tray card, I'm sorry. There's the back cover with the track listing. Here, we'll check out the front cover. That's that. Several band photos and information about the release. And the back cover here, which has, all the previous albums released by Abigor. So, yeah, super cool stuff. Really, I can't wait to hear this stuff. Love Abigor, so yeah. Alright, so as I said, the remaining contents of this box is all going to be Abigor. So, continuing on, we have the In Memory EP, which came in, I believe, 98 or 99. This is more or less a short compilation, which has 2 cover songs. The first song is a cover from Creator, and then we have a Slayer cover, and then there's a unreleased or a re-recorded song from their demo. Actually, it's called Shadow Lord, and I think it originally appears on a compilation or something like that, but then they re-recorded it for this particular compilation. Then the last 2 songs are just rehearsal versions of songs that otherwise were a little more had, you know, a little more, you know, better production on them and keyboards, all that kind of stuff. So these are much more raw, stripped down versions of it. So on the cover we have this Goat Lord here, and interesting thing about this album, when it was in the initial stages of planning, they were originally going to have this really grisly gore cover, which I guess got banned. They didn't use it, which I guess is a good thing, because I don't really understand why a black metal band had a gore cover anyway. But just some really grotesque shit they were going to have on that cover, and I'll make it appear right there if I can find it on the internet. If not, well, I guess do a little searching. But really grotesque shit, and part of that artwork is still, or the picture is still in this booklet, which I'll show. So there's the back of the booklet. And little lyrics, information. There's part of the gore artwork I was talking about. The real thing is really grotesque, and like it's just, I don't know. I see why it was banned, but. And the back cover, which has the track listing and all that stuff. Alright, so it's in Begor's In Memory. So the next two CDs I heard well over 20 years ago, but didn't buy back then, regrettably, and it wasn't until probably 2004, 2005 I bought this compilation that basically paired these two albums together. The albums in question are Noctilucant from the Twilight Kingdom and Orkblut, The Retaliation, two of Begor's most classic recordings, and I mean, for me it's some of, you know, again, some of the best black metal that came in the 90s. So what I have here is the original pressings of both of those. So anyway, here's the first one, which is Noctilucant from the Twilight Kingdom, and they're the EP Orkblut, The Retaliation. Both these albums, I think, were, you could maybe say, Begor at their most medievalish, I guess. There was a lot of, you know, medieval sort of like themes and, you know, sounds, and some backing female vocals, and very strong like pagan lyrics, especially on the Orkblut, The Retaliation. For what it's worth, I mean, again, this is, you know, one of my all-time favorite black metal albums, and it's so fucking cool to have this original pressing. It should be interesting, you know, see if it can, you know, see what the sound, if it, I mean, I don't know if that other compilation was remastered or anything, but it should be interesting to hear this to see if there's any difference. But more recently, these albums were just re-released by World Terror Committee, slightly remastered. So I don't know, it'd be interesting to hear those too, because, you know, like I said, favorite stuff here, and just, you know, fantastic classic black metal. Anyway. So there's the cover of Begor's Noctilucant from the Twilight Kingdom. And as much as I love Begor, I always sort of thought like their album covers were a little, I mean, not horrible, but like there was way cooler album covers back in the 90s, and I always felt like theirs were kind of a little subdued. I mean, it's just a, you know, a castle, you know, photo taken at night, and I mean, it's, you know, it's cool. I mean, it's still cool for what it is. I mean, it's obviously, you know, taking the medieval castle at night, and there's fog rolling and all that kind of stuff, and, you know, I mean, but just, I don't know, I guess maybe you know what I mean. But anyway, so in the booklet we have lyrics, some landscape shots in the background, some band photos, and if I'm not mistaken, it's been a minute since I listened to that compilation I showed earlier. I don't know that like the lyrics or the band photos are in there. I don't think they are. So very cool to have all that, you know, and have this original pressing. Then there's the CD. And then there's the back cover with the track listing on it. Right then, so Orkblut, The Retaliation was the second Begor release, and it came right after the first album, Verwustung. And again, this is it's an EP. It's only about 25 minutes long, but it's just fantastic stuff. Some of the best guitar work that Begor ever, you know, some of the best songs they ever, just great stuff. I mean, the song "The Soft and Last Sleep" is just great, just classic black metal, just awesome stuff. But again, this album has some very melodic characteristics, some keyboards and dungeon synthy kind of stuff going on. I want to say there's some female vocals on one of the songs too, but it was great stuff. I mean, awesome, just so awesome all in this. So there's the back cover, track listing, and as you can see, there's several songs, but like I said, you know, it's only about 25 minutes long. There's the CD, pretty standard, no art print and everything. There's the album cover, which is by far the coolest album, you know, by far the coolest album cover Begor had back in the day. then there you got lyrics and kind of the whole story behind the album, I guess. There's the back cover, which has the story of the album and some photos, which was, again, I don't think I've ever seen those photos again, so super fucking cool. Right then, so one more album, and the box just fell. So one more then, and this is going to be kind of weird because, well, I guess it's wear the shirt of the album cover day here in my dark musical abyss. Well, as you can see, I'm wearing a Begor Apocalypse t-shirt, and you will say to yourself, well, you have a t-shirt, but you don't own the album. All right. So back in the day, I used to sell stuff, I used to trade stuff a lot more frequently, and this was one of those albums I traded away, and in less than 6 months, I really regretted it, and then as I guess kind of shocked when I looked it up to kind of trying to get it, replace it. It was pretty expensive even like 10 years ago. So very cool to have this, and it's an awesome EP. This is only about 20 minutes of music, but it is at Begor at their most barbaric. I guess that'd be the best way to put it. I think around the time they really wanted to make a statement that black metal had reached a point of like just having too much keyboards and just was becoming too soft. They wanted to do something very extreme and just a total, just a brutal assault of just satanic black metal. And this was that recording, and it's awesome. It's also, I mean, it's also for what I'm, you know, it's also got to have one of the best vocal performances ever that Solenius, the vocalist of Begor, delivered. Just unhinged chaos coming out of his voice. I mean, just unbelievable. Just really, again, the word barbaric is the best way I can describe this album. Even there are some small melodic qualities, some really cool riffs. It's very just brutal stuff for the most part, but still very memorable and just a great recording. So there's the front cover of Apocalypse, which I guess you probably already noticed in my shirt, right? There's all the lyrics and the back of the booklet. Alright, so there's a CD, and then there's the back, which has all the track listing. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool to have this back in the collection. Well, that's about it for this unboxing video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much, David, for doing this trade. If you have any other items you are not listening to and would like to part with or trade, definitely get in contact with me again, bud. I'd love to do it. Thank you so much to everyone's been checking out these videos. I really, really appreciate the support. So, you know, as I've said this before, and I'll say it again, if you like what you see, repost in your social media, share with your friends, you know, whatever you gotta do, just get it out there, and I appreciate any help I can have, you know, getting support for this channel. And thanks to everyone that has been subscribing. I hope you guys have enjoyed the new content these past couple of weeks. We're gonna keep rolling and having a great time again. I'm really psyched to be back. So thank you guys, and thank you once again to David for doing this trade for me. Just awesome, man. You've really made my day. Thank you, bud. See you around. All right, guys.